Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
We're here out on the patio, recently the scene of much activity because we just finished brewing.
Yeah.
Out here it has been a long day.
It's been quite a long day. Yes, it has.
And we made a Belgian beer based on my triple recipe, but it's not a triple because we're using dark sugar this time. Mm-hmm. And where did we get that dark sugar?
We made it. Well, actually, we bought the sugar, then we converted it into Arkansas candy sugar syrup / hard.
And you'll understand all that here in just a moment. We set out to make a Belgian candy syrup, mm-hmm. but it's not really Belgian candy syrup because we're not in Belgium. And what we made was not really syrup because it was
really thick. I mean, it's like when Ellie Mae Clampett's cake. It's pretty darn thick.
Well, if you listen to Basic Brewing Radio, a couple of episodes ago, we talked to Josh Smith, a home brewer who makes this stuff he calls homemade Belgian candy syrup. And he uses a recipe based on Randy Mosher's work. And so we talked about how to make this stuff. And shortly after that episode aired, I heard from Brian Mercer of Dark Candy Incorporated. And they make the Belgian candy syrup.
They make the real thing.
The real stuff that I've used to make the Belgian brunette that you've all heard way too much about. Wonderful stuff. And Brian said, that's great that you guys are playing with sugar. It's another way to play with your beer. But it's not really Belgian candy syrup, mm-hmm. because the way they make the real stuff is they have vacuum chambers, and there's a whole proprietary thing that I hope to get him on the audio show mm-hmm. to talk about. So we're just caramelizing sugar essentially,
right,
to get some interesting kind of darker flavors in our sugar. So, do you want to talk about the process, how we did it today?
Yeah, it was pretty cool and actually very simple. We, mm-hmm. Of course, went off the recipe that was given to us. Mm-hmm. And we started off with, it's 2 pounds of sugar, of just regular old cane sugar.
Right.
And I think it's 2.5 teaspoons, is that right? 2.5 teaspoons of DAP.
Or diammonium phosphate, which is a yeast nutrient.
But we didn't have diammonium phosphate, so we used
ammonium
phosphate. And that's what we had, so that's what we used. And then a cup of water, and later a cup and a half of water.
Right.
So we start off by mixing all the ingredients together in a 3-quart saucepan. You need a pretty good sized saucepan because you don't want it to boil over.
Right.
For sure. And we put that on a medium heat. Medium heat is very, very important. Mm-hmm. If you put it on too high a heat, you can create all sorts of problems. Boilovers, burning, who knows what can happen. It's just not a good idea. If the heat's too low, you'll never get to where you want to be. Mm-hmm. So a medium heat is the place to be, right in the middle of your stove. And you don't have to stir it up. In fact, don't stir it up. And it will just kind of bubble, toil and trouble until it starts to turn darker and darker and darker. The version that we went for today was to bring it up to 290 degrees. When we hit 290, we killed the fire, and we added a cup and a half of cool water. So we've already added 1 cup of cool water at the beginning.
Right.
Then once we hit 290, turn the fire off, and then very slowly and very carefully.
Very important.
Very important, because you can splatter it on you, and boy, oh boy, we don't want you to go to the hospital, and you sure would. So splatter that on you. So pour that in slowly, stir it up, and it will thin out again. And then turn your heat back on, and bring it up to 240 degrees Fahrenheit. Once you get back to 240, kill the heat and cool the syrup as quickly as you can. We did that by putting it into a sink with some cool water about halfway up in the pan and cool that down. So then we went to lunch, and then we came back and discovered something close to the La Brea tar pit. I wouldn't call it syrup.
Yeah, Mrs. Butterworth, eat your heart out.
Yeah, no kidding. Because this is hardcore syrup. If you're a dinosaur, you want to go nowhere near this stuff. Trust me.
We don't know what happened.
But
we are not candy makers.
We're obviously not. Actually, we are.
Well, I guess
we're not
today
syrup
we
makers.
are. Yeah.
So the stuff was really, really thick. We're not quite sure what happened.
It's like a sugar daddy almost.
Yeah.
Very, very thick.
Yeah, very thick. But really good.
But tasty, very tasty.
Oh my gosh, it's just like,
so we used it anyway. We put it into the Belgian wort, and you wound up scraping it out with a metal spatula. It was so thick.
It was a little like adding liquid extract,
Right.
To
Right.
get it all the goodness out of there.
Right, and then you got to stir it to make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. But the beauty about this is that you can use different initial temperatures. Like we brought it up to 290. If you bring it up to 250, 260, 270, 280, you get different
Completely different product.
caramelization levels. You
Yep.
get different flavors. We wanted a darker product because we wanted a darker beer. But if you listen to that episode with Joshua Smith, he goes through a lot of different characteristics that he was able to get through his experimentation. Now, this is a handy little sheet that I printed off of a PDF that was sent in to us by Daniel Dorst from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. And I will put this link to this on the description of this episode on basicbrewingvideo.com. And it has the temperatures, the ingredients, the notes on the process, so that maybe you can have better luck than we did.
Well, we didn't have bad luck.
Well, it's just that, and it could be that we left it in the pan, kind of in a shallow, I don't know what happened.
We don't know.
If you're a candy expert and you know what happened, write us a note and let us know.
Yeah.
But this is definitely going to be a two-parter, because when we come back from our summer hiatus,
Oh, where are we going?
we're going, among other places, we're going to go to California, to Oakland, California, to the National Homebrewers Conference, and we hope to see you there. If you're going to go there, be sure to snag us and say hello.
And buy me a beer.
And buy me a
Actually, there'll be so much beer there.
beer.
we
There'll be
probably
lots of beer. I'll buy you a beer, because
Yeah.
it'll be free. But that's going to be a wonderful thing. We're going to go on vacation, so we're not going to see you in June, but we'll see you back in July with some wonderful stuff from out west. And maybe we can talk about this beer here in a few weeks.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's great. Shall we end this with a little toast?
a little toast with a little bit of
Just a little tequila?
tequila. We didn't make this, obviously.
No, but we're drinking it.
But cheers.
Cheers.
Happy summer, everybody.
Summer.
We'll see you in a month. Come and visit us on the web. At basicbrewing.com, you can find archive lists of both our audio and video podcasts on home brewing. You can also find our DVDs, Introduction to Extract Home Brewing, Stepping into All Grain, Low-Tech Lagering and Decoction Mashing, and our latest edition, Introduction to Wine Kits. Drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. Write to james@basicbrewing.com, steve@basicbrewing.com, or just use the contact form on basicbrewing.com. That's smooth.